Hey guys, and welcome back. This is another Soulforge video for Gems of War, and there's not much going on this week, so it's going to be a pretty short video this time around. We do have Guild Wars going on as the major event this week, so I won't be probably showing too much with that because I've done a lot of that in previous videos. I think pretty much everybody knows what they're supposed to do with that. So we're just going to check out the Soulforge and talk about maybe the campaign a little bit because we are now in the second week of this new campaign. And, we'll check out the new Glory Troop, and that's pretty much it for this video, I think. So let's go right over to the Soulforge and check this out. We usually start with the weapons here. We have, as the event kingdom this week, I believe it's Golvania, and that's why we are having weapons here for that kingdom. Wall of Oblivion is a weapon I'm not going to recommend, although at first glance it looks like it would be okay. It says it'll steal all of an enemy's armor, but then it says if enemy is a boss, deal death mark all other enemies. Now, death mark only has a 10% chance to do lethal damage each turn to that enemy. When it does work, it's amazing. When it doesn't, which is 90% of the 90% of the time, it sucks. It's not great, So, and you have to have an enemy that is a boss for it to death mark all other enemies. So, other than the stealing all the armor of an enemy, the only situations where I think that might be useful just for that alone is maybe in high level delves. So if you cast this weapon on an enemy that has, let's say, 400 or 500 armor, it's going to steal all of that, and you'd be able to do that for another enemy, and so you'd probably be able to survive pretty well with this weapon in something like high level delves. But yeah, other than that, I can't really see any use for this weapon. Mace of Golvania is not something I would recommend. Removes all purple gems, then it deals damage boosted by those gems removed. So I don't recommend doing that. But we do have down here at the bottom, we have one of these doomed weapons that transform gems to doom skulls, which these are the best doomed weapons that you can craft. This one is purple mana color, but it does transform yellow gems. So, we do have the Stormcaller class, which gives us a light storm, so there's more yellow gems on the board. The only problem with that is that he would have, not a lot of purple mana on the board to get it full. So I don't think this is really the best of the doomed weapons that convert gems to doom skulls, but if you don't have any at all, or if you're trying to collect all of them, definitely pick this one up, although it does cost 900 diamonds, which is basically like a legendary troop cost. But as a weapon, I think it is probably better than most all the legendaries you could craft. So there's that for weapons. Moving over to the summoning stones really quick. We'll start with blue. And nothing here I can really recommend. Green. Nothing really there. Red. Nope. Yellow. And Center Musician is still one of my go-to troops to silence enemies, because silence is still really powerful. Not a whole lot of things are immune to it. For purple, nothing here either that I can recommend. Finally, we have brown, and nothing here either. So, summoning stones, nothing really good to try to get in there this week. And then for legendaries in the Soulforge, we have the Silent One, the Keeper of Souls, and we have Medea and Queen Moonclaw. So all those legendaries are the only one that's I would say is even. I just can't recommend crafting legendary troops because I think it's a waste of the 800 diamonds. But my opinions on these legendary troops is Keeper of Souls is actually probably an underrated legendary troop. It transforms all gems of a chosen color to skulls. I do use this one in certain skull teams. So it is a pretty good troop, especially with a weapon like Mang. But is it worth crafting? Probably not. The Silent One, this thing silences all enemies and itself. So if you do want to have a troop that does that to the enemy team, silences them all, that would be the one to go with, but I don't use it that often. As far as Medea, this is kind of a weird troop. It deals damage to all enemies, enchants all allied demons, and barriers all allied mystics. So I really don't use this troop much, you know. I don't think I ever have. It is a human, so you can get it to start with half mana with Saint Astra and enchanted it as well. And then this troop itself will enchant all demon allies. Just kind of an odd troop. I don't really use it. The worst out of all these legendary troops is probably Queen Moonclaw. I don't think I've ever used this troop a single time. What it does is it creates 9 skulls boosted by green allies and enemies. It summons a random Noel. And its trait here to give 2 attack to green allies when an ally deals skull damage. So, but again there, it's gaining attack damage. You want to put it at the top spot, but it has no other ways of reducing damage from skulls. So that's very weird. Very weird troop. It is a war gear, which, you know, that we have no class for war gear, but we do have those guardian troops that give 4 to all skills on all wear gear. So I just wish we had a class for that, because I feel like out of all... They gave us so many classes that feel really lackluster and underwhelming, and we didn't even get one for this troop type, which is kind of disappointing to me. Okay, that's enough about legendaries. Let's talk about mythics here that are in the Forge. So we have some really bad ones in the Forge, and then we have one that's like kind of okay in the Forge. So this really isn't a good week for mythic troops here in the Forge. We have War, which this is one of the few Apocalypse troops I do not have yet, but just looking at it, it's just not that great. Burns all enemies. It will deal damage to an enemy boosted by its attack. It gains an extra turn if an enemy dies. It has this thing where it will ignore armor with skull damage, reflects 25% skull damage, gains 3 attack at the start of each turn. So it's very much one of these skull type of troops that you need to keep at the top of the team. One of the things, though, about it is that it does not create any skulls. So it's made in its traits for doing skull damage, but it has no way to create skulls. So it's kind of odd, and I don't know how I feel about that troop. It's definitely low tier. Garangatar is like definitely like F tier. It's just garbage. As an orc troop, this thing is pretty darn useless. So I would never ever craft that unless it was the last mythic that I had to get, and I was trying to collect them all. And I was at end game. I mean, that's the only time I would consider crafting it. You know, and it's kind of the same thing with like I'm trying to collect them all. I got most of the best mythics in the game at this point. Fortunately, I already have Garangatar. It was actually the first mythic I got on this account in Gem Keys, which was kind of sad. But you know, for those of you that watched my last Soulforge video, we spent 1,400 event keys trying to get Wolfgarrick, because that's one of the mythics I don't have yet, and we weren't able to get them, so that was very sad times. Anyway, you definitely don't want to be spending any kind of keys or diamonds or anything to try to get Garangatar. That was my point. So we have Vash Dagon here as well, and Vash Dagon is, you know, it's not F tier, but it's definitely lower on a tier list. It devours an ally, which is really kind of a weird thing. And I know I've said this in the past, but I really don't understand why they chose to go with a 3-1 ratio for the damage that it does based on its life. Because maximum life is 1,000, and it's going to take you a long time devouring your allies to even get to the maximum amount of life. And at its maximum, it's only going to do about 330 or so damage. You know, well, you're going to add a little bit of its spell damage here to it as well. So, like, maximum, you're going to get close to maybe 400 at its absolute maximum damage potential, but it's going to take a long time to get it to that point. I really wish they would have done, like, a 1-to-1 ratio, because it's doing scatter damage, and scatter damage is not that powerful at first, especially when all the enemies are still alive, and your health isn't going to be that big on here. So 1-to-1 ratio, it definitely, even with a 1-to-1 ratio, it wouldn't have made it like S tier. It probably would be still like B tier if it had a 1-to-1 ratio. But you know, I just don't know why they didn't do that. The other like redeeming factor of this troop is that it will curse a random enemy when you're matching brown gems, and since it takes brown, You can put it with Mountain Crusher. You're going to get a lot of brown matching, and that can actually curse is important for things like you know, um, let's say there's a troop that's immune to poison and you want to poison it, so you can do lethal kill with Scorpius. Well, if it's cursed, you will still be able to do a lethal kill on that enemy troop if you know, if you have that set up and it's cursed. So same thing with like Devour. Like if a troop is immune to Devour and it's cursed, you still will be able to devour it. So curse is very important, and that's one of the redeeming factors of Vash Dagon. Is it worth crafting for 4,000 diamonds? No. I would wait a very long time before I crafted Vash Dagon. Okay, now moving on to the last mythic here, Will of Nysha. Now this one I think is better in general than Vash Dagon, but it's still not amazing. This troop here will do damage to all enemies. It does steal 3 magic from all of them. So every time that you cast it, it's going to steal more magic, and it will do more damage to all enemies every time you cast it. It does take a little bit for its damage to really start to ramp up. Now, its traits are interesting in the fact that it does give all purple allies 1 to all stats at the start of each turn. So you can really combine this with like a purple team and get some, you know, extra stats every single turn. It does reduce damage from spells by 50%, which is kind of good. But is it worth crafting? I mean, I'm gonna say it's the best mythic in the Forge this week, but it's still not top tier. I would craft a lot of other mythics like Ketrish the Bold, Tina 9000. You know, I would craft those types of mythic troops, like the Wild Queen even. Definitely craft those before something like Will of Nysha. So yeah, those are the mythic troops here this week. And let's move on to the glory shop here. Take a look at that troop. And for 400 glory, we are going to get 1 Van Kane. Plus, we're also going to get 2 Arcane Shield Trait Stones. So if you have Mythics or you have Legendary troops or classes that need the Arcane Shield Trait Stones, now is a good time to use some of that glory and purchase. Every 400, you're going to get 2 of those Arcane Trait Stones, which is definitely worth it. I mean, that's probably the easiest, best way to get Arcane Trait Stones in the game. Let's take a look at the ability of this troop. So it'll do 33 damage to an enemy, boosted by all undead enemies. If the enemy is undead, there are independent 50% chances to curse and silence. Silence is kind of good, but the one thing that I don't like about these types of troops, that they put out that have some kind of effect on an enemy if the enemy is a certain type, I don't like those because there's no way to really control what the enemy is using against you. So the only time these types of troops are probably useful is if there's some event going on where all of the enemies are that troop type and you can guarantee that it's going to be doing these things to it. Other than that, these kinds of troops are not really that good. It has an interesting trait there with the armor piercing, but there's just way better troops than this in the game to basically do what it's doing. But I'll buy that anyway. Let me grab my Spoils of War here. 10 event keys. We can start building up back to our 14,000. Oh, look at that. I got 16 event keys now. It's going to take me a long time to get back up to like the 1400 that I was at. I'm still sad about that. Anyway, so yeah, that's the new troop there. And like I said, Guild Wars is the event going on. So for Guild Wars, I would set your defenses, upgrade your sentinels, you know, just upgrade it how you want. I mean, you are going to have to spend resources here, the gems and all that. So it's up to you to choose how much of that you want. I'm not going to cover Guild Wars in depth in this, but just a pointer. When you're attacking on your days, to maximize your points, you want to use troops that all have red for the day you're attacking on red day. Same thing for brown, green, purple, yellow, blue, so on. Defense doesn't matter for color. It just matters that you have unique troops or weapons for every single day in your defenses to maximize your points. And that's basically how Guild Wars works. So yeah, we have the campaign here. Let's go in here and check out really quick what the tasks are. I think everybody has the same tasks. So I completed my first week, which was 16 tasks. Now I have another 16 for this week, and I completed them like within 2 days. So for this, I have to kill undead enemies in any battle except training. So one of the ways that I do this, I mean, you're going to kill some of these in PvP, right? Just doing those battles. But one of the ways to really do these tasks well is find a kingdom. And you can just go in here and you can be like, troop type, I need to kill undead troops. So you select undead, you click apply, and just look at these. Which kingdom has most of the undead? Right here we're seeing Qatar, right here. Show up for quite a few of these. Galvania has a few, but I'm seeing a lot of, yeah, there's more Galvania. So Galvania and Qatar have like a lot of undead. So to kill them now, all we got to do, we know what kingdoms. So Galvania was one, and Qatar over here is another one. So all I have to do is just come in here and do explore battles, and you could do them on level 1 if you want to, and just do some quick explore battles, or you could just do explore difficulty level 12 if you have a team that can handle that, and just farm for some medals at the same time as you're killing those undead. So I don't know why I clicked that. Let's go back to the campaign. So that's how I am going to complete those undead tasks, right? This undead task here for I gotta kill 44 of them, and then purple recruits. We have a task here to craft purple summoning stones in Soulforge, and it says 3. So unfortunately, you do have to have then some summoning stones to do this. Even though there's nothing worth going for here in the purple, we do need to do 3 of these, which is going to cost me 300 souls and 150 jewels. So if I craft that, we're going to get some useless troops. But right there at the right hand side, it said my task was ready to collect. So that's how that works right there. And you come in here to the tasks and you just click on this collect, and then you're going to get your stars for that task. Now the next one here says dark crystals matching purple gems in any battle. This is going to be 300 of them. What I would do to maximize this is use a conversion troop that converts gems to purple, something like Giant Spider, for example. So if we go here to troops, and let me just type in, Giant. Let's see if it shows up really quick under that. Here we go, Giant Spider. So this says transform a selected mana color to purple, summon a spider swarm. So this right here, you can get a lot of purple gem matches just on transforming with this. The other way to do it is if you have Umberwolf. Umberwolf will, if you need to have this fully traded, but it will create a dark storm at the start of every turn. That right there will guarantee that there's going to be a lot of purple gems falling down. You're going to get more purple matches, and that'll get you closer to that 300. Another troop that's good for this is Laraza, which is an underworld troop for Laraza's lair. You need to fully trade this as well, but it conjures a Madness Storm when your turn begins. The Madness Storm is both blue and purple. So you're going to get blue in there, but you're also going to get a lot of purple in there as well. That's how I would speed up getting those 300 purple gem matches to complete that task, is through those means. And what were the other tasks that was in there? Death Knight hero. So we have to equip a Death Knight class, and we have to win some battles. So what we could do is we could complete that at the same time you're doing the purple ones, or doing explore battles here with the undead, killing those guys. So that's pretty much what I would do for completing these tasks. But also here, just a note, I did create that video last week about the total rewards here for the free pass. It is pretty pathetic what they're giving us for the free pass. And I am still free right now. I haven't paid for the $10 pass. I still might do that, but I do have the next 9 weeks to decide if I'm going to spend the $10 on that. Just so you guys know, the bottom row here is for that elite pass. I'm sure a lot of you know that, but just to point that out, this bottom row of rewards is for paying the $10. Now, if you scroll all the way to the point where you see where it's at a 1,000 stars here, this right here is the mythic troop that you're going to get. If you pay $10 and you complete enough tasks to get to the 1,000 stars right here by week 10, you're going to get this mythic troop. Now, the unfortunate thing is that it looks like you could possibly miss getting this troop even if you pay the $10, because if you don't collect 100 stars every single week, you're not going to get 1,000 stars by the end of the 10 weeks. So that means you have to be able to do all of your tasks. And one of the tasks I remember was vault keys. You have to open up, I don't know if it was a vault key or if it was gnomes, and it was one or the other, but I used a vault key to complete that task, and I know that sometimes those are hard to get. So we don't know what all the tasks are going to be in the next 9 weeks to finish this out. So there might be some weird tasks that require a certain amount of resources to be spent that you might not have. And if you pay that $10 and you get to that week 9, you're gonna be really disappointed not to get that mythic troop even after paying the $10. Now it looks like you could upgrade to the elite pass here, but that's not going to help you at the very end because you only get 20 stars per week. So if you're afraid that you're not going to complete all of your tasks, you pretty much are stuck with paying the $25 so that you can like probably midway through, like 5 weeks into it, if you've already missed a bunch of tasks and you've paid the $10, at that point you're going to miss out on that mythic if you don't upgrade to the Elite Plus Pass. So there's a little bit of a trap kind of in there, and I don't know how I feel about that. They don't really explain that you could lose out on the mythic if you don't do all your tasks, and I don't really feel like that's the best way that they could have gone about doing this, but it's their business. So yeah, but the other thing here is we're upgrading every single week our artifact, which gives us stats to all troops, and that's probably the best thing about the free aspect of doing these tasks, is that you're going to get more stats to all your troops. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say for this week. So shorter video here, still 20 minutes long, but I don't know, I have a tendency to just like ramble on about a lot of stuff. Well, I guess there's one last thing I could show here, is that this event week is Golfania troops, and it turns out there is a really good mythic for that. So if you do have event keys, now is the time to go ahead and open a few just to try to get this mythic. It's not... There's actually two mythics here. So Draculus is not like the one that I would hope that you got. The Great King is far superior to Draculus. Destroys all gems with chosen color, so there's mana generation. All enemies of that color take true damage, which that's awesome. And then it mana drains those enemies, it silences them, it freezes them. So the Great King is absolutely up there for me. Very top tier mythic, and it is in event keys this week. So if you don't have it yet, you have a few event keys to spare, you could try spending a few just to get that. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.